I'm just getting set up for the next project. You can see I'm actually using my outfeed table as an outfeed table. Go figure. Now I'm also using my table saw for cutting the angles that I'm going to need for this bowl. I have the blade set up to 16.8 degrees, as close as I can measure it. I took a sacrificial cut, and actually it's not really sacrificial, it's this piece of birch, yellow birch right here. And the angle is whoop. Sorry if I'm making you seasick. The angle's right here, and I measured it with the two protractors. It says 16.8, so this is going to be my reference for the rest of the cuts, because there are a whole series of cuts that are going to relate to that angle right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this piece of maple to length, and then I'm going to rip it into a couple of pieces that I need, and they will in turn get that same 16.8 degree cut. I won't keep you with me for all the racket, but wish me luck. Alright, this is the layout, the bottom of the bowl. It's currently 12 and almost 12 and a quarter. I have a few spare pieces of, well, let's just call them errant cuts. Oh, here's one more. And that'll be for another bowl. Now this will go in the center here once I have the rest of the glue up done. This will get cut here. I'm debating on whether to cut 45 in here. It'd look a lot sharper, but more difficult to do. I don't like more difficult. This will end up being the bottom of the bowl. Yeah, that's well, maybe we'll see, because all this is going to get turned away anyway. This side has not been planed yet, but it's been, well, near catastrophe. This bowl has sadly tried to kill me, but it was my own stupid fault. I tried clamping a piece on the side of the fence, and one of the clamps came loose and caught the blade. Luckily I saw what was happening in time and was able to duck out of the road as the cast iron clamp went winging past where my head had been just seconds previously. So this is not a game for the weak of heart, let me tell you. Once I get done some gluing, I'll bring you back. I have a couple of these pieces glued up, and that's what they're going to look like. And that's the center to these blocks, and they're going to fit in there like that. So I was going to cut them perpendicular to each other, and I got thinking, why don't I just take and I don't know if you can see my pencil marks here, and I was gonna cut them at 45 so they would all come together in the center, and I wasn't sure, with them being tapered like this, if they're all going to come together. I think they should. I mean, it makes sense if they do, that they should. But instead, in the interim, I'm currently gluing up a couple of sacrificial pieces that were cuts left over from the original cuttings. So once these are glued up and the glue sets and dries, I'm going to go ahead and cut them in the fashion that I intended to try with the 45-degree things. So we'll see how that works out. If that works good, then that's the plan for this. And then once this is all glued up one way or the other, these will go along the sides, and when it's all turned away, I'll have a nice little walnut chunk on the edge that closes that up. So I think it's I did one of these before, but it was small, the tester, and we'll see how this one's going to go. I finally managed to get all these pieces to fit half decent. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. And I mean, these got glued up early, but there's still some cutting to do here. And I got to take these off the end, and there's a little bit of difference in the length of these because of the way I glued them up, and I had to take a kind of a specialized cut for this one to get it to fit half decent, and that all again reverts to glue up. But also I decided to switch these two pieces around at the end because of the way the grain was. These two hunks, the grain went this way, and these two hunks, the grain went that way, and I thought, that's just gonna look dumb. So I realized that by switching these two pieces, that would rotate the grain back in orientation with the other ones. So once I've got these cut up, I can run a square cut and bring these all back into the same dimensions. And then I have some little walnut pieces that I'm gonna glue across each side, and that will give me a nice little different color on the end. It won't be different, it'll be the same as these. So a little more cutting and gluing and we're all set to turn. Stay tuned. Good. I got my faceplate all attached, and I rounded up on the bandsaw. We're currently at 12 and a half. About 12 and a half inches. So we'll get about maybe 12 and a quarter out of it by the time I round it up. And probably 12 after I'm done sanding. So let's get her on the lathe and see how much more damage I can do to this poor thing. Not bad. I can work with that. I'm ready to cut a mortise in here for the chuck. I was going to put a tenon in here, but I think that's going to cost me a little more in depth of the bowl than I want to give up. So I'll just go in here 5 or 6 millimeters, I guess, and we'll check to see if the chuck is going to work, if it's going to grab a good enough hold. I think it'll be all right, and then I can start shaping the bottom. Yeah, I think I got a good dovetail in there now. And I left a little bit of shape here as some bottom decoration. And let's see if I got that lump out of the center. It's just barely gone. Good. Now, let's do a quick chuck check. Yeah, I like that better. Chuck jaws should sit a little flatter down in the bottom here. Good. Yeah, it's getting into the shape that I want. There's still a little lump right here. But it's looking quite good. I'm starting to get the transition here from the angled pieces in the center. It's too bad I have some glue lines here, but it's on the bottom. Unless you go looking for them, you're not going to see them. And those saw marks that were left are gone. So that's a good thing. Okay, let's see if we can get rid of that little lump. I think that's just right. Well, I think it's time for a reversal. And a check by my technical consultant. Yeah, that's better. It's not much of a slope, but it is there, and that's what I want. I can't just go straight in. It also means I'm going to have to go backwards. I do that most of the time anyway. That's better. We've got a good dovetail in there. Yeah, I think we're good. I got a little more of the wedges showing up, so that's good too. Yeah, that's nice. I like it. Let's sand. Chuck check. I think she'll hold. I just took a measurement here. I got 40 mils of solid meat, even though this is for fruit. So I got an inch and a quarter. I think it's inch and a quarter. Forstner bit. I'm going to go in 2 centimeters with this, and then we'll go up a little more diameter in Forstner bit. I'm just too lazy to try and dig it out of there with a chisel. That's a good start anyway. Let's see if we get anywhere. Like I said, we haven't in the past with this thing. It's just too big. It's too much Forstner bit for my lathe. But we'll try it. No. I mean, it's nice and sharp, but actually it's not that sharp. Even from new. I'm going to abandon that foolish attempt before it ends up trying to kill me. Did make a little bit of swarth though. And that's not so bad. We can work with that. But first, let's just make sure our chuck is still tight after all that vibration. I found out about that, sadly, the hard way on one of my first bowls, which coincidentally tried to kill me. This should be called not Schroedman's Shop, but the Killer Bowl channel of all. I got one of them, but maybe they should all be the Killer Bowls. See, we have a bit of tear out here. fact, we have a lot of area. But we are getting to the place we want to be. I can go maybe another 3/16 of an inch before I get to my max outside point, I think. Because I don't want to take any more of this walnut away. I catch a bit of it, but no more. Otherwise there wouldn't have been any point in gluing it on there. You're just wasting it. So, anyway, let's switch to big thread. Yeah, it's gradually thickening as it comes to the lip. But if I take any more away, I start to lose this tapering effect. And that was the point of it in the first place. Maybe I should have glued a faceplate on the back. But it's too late now. Still have nice chatoyance on this though. There's another little crack in the wood here, but I think the walnut will keep it all glued together. I'm just resanding the bottom because there were a few open glue lines here after I turned, and I fixed them up with a little bit of glue and some dry, very fine sawdust, and they look 100% better, but now I gotta sand them smooth again. So I used a jam chuck and into my original live center point. So I don't want to go too fast because I don't trust jam chucks. They're trying to kill me. Well, I think that's back to where it was. Only with some little repairs in there that looks a heck of a lot better than it did. But there's still a little place to fix, I think. I guess not. I guess it's alright. It's ugly, but it's alright. It's just a glue line. Not much I can do about that. Alright, let's de-chuck and see if there's anything we have to fix on the other side. I think that just about does it. There's a block I cut off the corner of this that I put the Howard feed and wax on to see what it was going to look like, because I hadn't tried it on yellow birch before. But I think it looks pretty good. It could be an X-Men bowl or something. But as I was turning, a couple of little cracks appeared right here. They're very small, but I CA'd them just in case, and gave them a good sanding again, and I think it's come out very nice. You can see in here the taper of these pieces that I started out with, nice and wide at the top and narrowing at the bottom. And on the bottom side, well, they taper right out to almost nothing. So, which was the plan. The pieces of walnut on the sides, they were 5.5 inches long at one point, and they've been turned away to, I don't know, what is that, about 3 inches or so, and they were about 1/4 of an inch thick, and they're tapered right down too. So, but the Howards has put a beautiful finish on this. It's meant for fruit, so I didn't want to put anything but a food safe finish on it, but I think it looks real good. We'll leave it sit overnight, and I'll buff it again in the morning. So I generally leave it on this little gadget, and that lets air get under it to dry. My Lazy Susan meets Longworth chuck is too small for this big. It won't open up quite wide enough, so we'll use the old go-to. Anyway, I'm not going to bother showing you this once I rebuff it, because it's going to look just as beautiful tomorrow, but it's going to let the feed and wax soak in a little bit more now. And I mean, this grain is just beautiful in the yellow birch, but the feed and wax has really brought up the color. So thanks for watching Schroedman's Shop. My name is Dave, and I hope you've enjoyed this bowl. I've had a lot of fun making it. Had a few headaches doing it too because of the joinery, but I think it's come out very well. Please like and subscribe and share, and be safe.